Ah, let me ask you a question. Do you like your phone? Do you genuinely enjoy having a smartphone? I personally hate my phone. I despise it. It has nothing to do with the hardware. I actually think Samsung did an outstanding job with the S24 Ultra. The part I hate is what the phone makes me do and what role it plays in my life. I remember the good old days when all we had to worry about on our phones were just playing Clash Royale and watching YouTube videos. Even back then, spending more than just a few hours on the phone was considered extremely bad for us. And I think it is quite concerning that today I can look at 3 hours screen time spent on YouTube and think it's actually not that bad. I might even go as far as saying it was a rather productive use of that screen time. We've come from an hour or two of long form content to 5, 6, or even more hours of short form content. Back in the prehistoric times of 2018 to 2020, having a TikTok, which I believe was called Musically back then, was considered very lame and not something cool boys did. And I myself, just like the majority of my peers, was pretty set on never downloading that thing onto my phone. Not even a year passes by and the pandemic hits. All of a sudden, I'm at home on my own 24/7. I'm sure some of you can relate that it was quite fun and exciting at first, being able to play Fortnite with the boys all day. But just like all good things, too much of sitting on the PlayStation can also get boring over time. It must have been around these times that I noticed the insane growth in popularity of TikTok. Wasn't this the same platform that girls used to post cringe dance videos? I resisted downloading TikTok for a bit more until I finally caved in. I needed a new source of entertainment. YouTube was good, but just like the games, it was getting too predictable. And my god, TikTok delivered what they couldn't. With every swipe, I was exposed to something new, something different. Having just started using the platform, my feed was full of all sorts of stuff. But eventually, the algorithm worked its magic and created my perfect FYP. I had all the gaming and tech content I watched on YouTube and more, all in a shorter and more convenient format. For years, I lied to myself saying that TikTok was different than the other social media platforms, that my feed was actually full of useful stuff, not just quick dopamine boosts. I kept telling myself this lie for like 5 years until I got to university. University was a whole different world, to say the least. I might actually do a separate video about challenges of studying at the university, so if you want to see that, leave a comment down below. But anyways, all of a sudden, I was given a huge amount of free will and freedom. It was fun and scary at the same time. After the first semester, I realized I was having difficulty focusing on the lectures and getting work done. I, of course, didn't think much of it, called the courses hard, and kept doing what I did. I survived the first year like this until sometime in my second year, I realized that I can't just survive it anymore. I was failing tests more often than I wanted to admit, and I was actually starting to get worried about my mental state. After some not so difficult self analysis and reflection, I realized I knew something was going wrong, but was just numb to it. In the majority of lectures, I would pay very little attention to the professor, playing games or scrolling on my phone. At home, I would say I was studying, but more than half of that time on my desk was just me scrolling on my phone. I was consistently pulling 6+ hours on social media, even on my busiest days. I was mostly aware of this, but it was fine because the solution of the guilt of scrolling was even more scrolling. I was not trying to fix the problems, I was just distracting myself to avoid them. I was already aware that I was not really enjoying the cycle, but I was just perpetuating it because it was numbing. In the middle of all these, I heard from one of my closest friends that he uninstalled both Instagram and TikTok, and he described the change as days feeling like 0.5x speed. That really hit me. I thought about the amount of time I lose every day by scrolling a bit here and there. Same night, I went home and told my girlfriend that I was going to uninstall TikTok. She was surprised at first, but agreed with me as she was also aware of how addicted we both were to our phones. As of writing this video, it has been close to a week without TikTok. I still get the phantom TikTok opens. When I grab my phone, I unconsciously scroll to where TikTok was on my home screen. And that disgusting feeling when I realized how much it has engraved itself to my brain proves to me that this was a necessary change. So far, I have been trying to use YouTube to cover my TikTok cravings, but with longer content, of course. I'm also planning to uninstall Instagram eventually as well, but I wanted to ease myself out of it slowly to not have huge withdrawal issues. Also, having started this YouTube channel, having that little chunk of more time in a day to do something better for myself is actually really nice. You know, I could be watching TikToks instead of writing this script right now. But of course, TikTok was not the sole problem in my life, and everything is not just sunshine and rainbows now. But it is a step in the right direction, and I'm looking forward to continuing this process of getting control of my life back from my phone. If you relate to any of the stuff I was yapping about, seriously consider taking action yourself. It does not have to be deleting any apps or taking yourself off the internet. Something small like keeping track of your screen time is a step in the right direction that might just start a butterfly effect. Thank you very much for choosing to use your time to watch this video instead of scrolling mindlessly. I am excited to advance this journey further, and I would love to hear your opinions as well. See you in the next one.